Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and diving a little more deeper into the world of 1/12 scale vehicles. We're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe classified Vamp and Clutch. I know again this is an older figure and vehicle. It came out I believe a year or two ago now. As I said, I'm going through my back catalogue of figures to provide you guys with continuous content and help grow the channel and things like that. And as I said, I do feel I want to discuss 1/12 scale vehicles, things how they're becoming more relevant and prevalent as well in our sort of collecting spheres these days. So this is by far one of my favourite vehicles that I've got. It's not my all-time favourite, but I'd say it's a very close third or fourth. And I do think it's a great vehicle, don't get me wrong, but I wish there was just a little bit more in terms of what it comes with per se. And I do have a slight nitpick on my copy at least. I know this is not the issue with every copy, but it did happen with me, and it's I'll show you when we get to it. But I believe this came out a year and a half or 2 years ago now. I believe it was the first vehicle that we ever got with G.I. Joe classified, and it was a welcome surprise to me nonetheless. Came at a time when all we had for vehicles, I believe in the G.I. Joe classified line, was the Ram cycle at the time. And bikes are nice. I love bikes. Again, keep an eye out for those future videos. I've got a couple of Ram cycles, and they'll be a part of my big sort of 1/12 scale vehicle video that I've got planned. That video will come out at the very end because I want that to be a bit of a culmination of all these videos. And I want to be a bit more professional about it. I normally just sort of rant and rave off the cuff. I don't script my videos or anything like that, as I'm sure you can tell. But in that one, I do feel to get my thoughts articulated properly, I do need to sort of script it a little bit, just that way I can get all my thoughts generalised and in a sort of cohesive manner. But let's get right into the vehicle itself. Now the Vamp, as I said, is a really nice looking vehicle. I love Clutch. I think I'd say he's in my top 20 of G.I. Joe classifieds. Now what I meant when I say I wish there was a bit more in terms of what this vehicle comes with and what it is that I wish that there was, similar to the R-Striker, that there was more options for this to become more original as to how it was in the cartoon. They did update this, I believe, for certain aesthetics, and obviously it's what G.I. Joe Classified does, though they are leaning more into retro at the moment. They do these sort of nice modern uptakes. And what I believe I mean by that is the guns, these two machine gun things. Though I love these, and this is how I do display mine like this, just as its base set. I've not done any of the gridiron upgrade kits or Pixis designs, though they are very nice. I like to keep my stuff as close to the original as possible, and if I feel the weapon is like sort of beyond gummy or salvageable or bent to 9 hells, I upgrade my stuff a little bit with like Valaverse weapons and things like that. But 9 times out of 10, I tend to keep all of my stuff stock and original as possible. That's just my personal preference. But I do believe that in the I've seen certain images of where like this gun is like some big sci-fi laser-like cannon. Kind of wish they might have done that. I like the idea of that. I like sort of realistic military, but that's what I've got Valaverse for. But I do like when G.I. Joe leans into these sort of sci-fi, monster-ish, like with Cobra and things like that. I do love that. That's my shtick. I do like that kind of stuff. But other than that, I wish there was just a little bit more paint on here as well. Though it's traditional OD green, your traditional blacks and things like that, I wish that they would have like done some like scuff detail, as if to say like this has been a bit more used and things like that. Yeah, pristine and nice, but I feel like as this is a combat vehicle and things like that, it would have been nice to have like, I don't know, even just a sticker decal sheet to sort of add like some little scuffs and dirt marks and things like that. That's just my personal preference at the end of the day. Beyond that, I think this is a great vehicle and it was a great offering at the time. I remember there was a lot of speculation that this was going to be like HasLab price, like close to a HasLab price. People were speculating it was going to be like 200 and things like that, and which wouldn't have been a surprise. It is Hasbro after all. But I believe this came out at retail at 100, 150 maybe. Somewhere between that ballpark. But it was a nice surprise when it came, and the pricing wasn't so bad. I believe this was really hard to get, I believe, at some point in America. It's either that or it was the Stinger that started to be harder to get. I know it was one of these, either the Vamp itself or the Stinger. I know the Stingers are starting to show up all over the place now, but I believe it may have actually been the Vamp that a lot of people started to struggle to get unless you actually pre-ordered it and were successful in getting it. But let's get into the actual accessories. So obviously he comes with clutch. I normally just keep mine nice and seated in there. We'll move the Vamp out of the way just so that way we can get a good look at clutch for now. And yeah, like I said, he is sort of, he's definitely in my top 20. I don't have a definitive ranking for him, but overall I think he's a nice looking figure. I believe his backstory is like, in this he puts like oil slick in his hair or something like that, and that's why it's so jet black and that's how he styles it. But he does come with some accessories. He comes with the same wrench that we saw with CoverGirl, a couple of CoverGirls now actually, except this one is done in red and black, whereas CoverGirls I believe was all black, and then the new retro one I believe is yellow. So he does come with that, so it's nice that he has a little tool. He has a big pistol. I believe we have seen this pistol before. I believe it came with General Hawk, the one with the green star helmet and the brown leather jacket, the older version of him, because we just had the MMS system, which does go with the Vamp, which I'll show in another video hopefully soon. But don't know what type of pistol this is. Gun guys in the comment section, do your thing. Has a hole for blast effects and things like that. And that's it for the base figure. He does come with a helmet. I display him with this helmet. But he does come with just a couple of other accessories, which I'll show here. He comes with a steel core helmet, because we can't say Steel Brigade, because Valaverse owns that now. Suck it. But he does come with one of these. It's painted up and it's got like the sort of Tiger Force stripes on there to make it a bit different. It is a helmet, so it's just a hollow hole. It's nice to detail, but me personally, I think that looks a little ridiculous. Kind of gives me that big alien head dome. Which, yeah, it is what it is. I don't really use this. But he also comes with a shotgun. And it's the same shotgun that CoverGirl comes with, except this one is brown stock and black. Whereas CoverGirl's was green, and I believe, again, Clayton Hawk Abernathy, the older version, also came with a shotgun, but I think that one's just all black. So it does come with those. Articulation wise, same standard articulation that we've seen consistently across Joe's. Double ball joint in the neck and the head, butterfly joints at the shoulders, bicep swivel, double pinless elbows, wrist swivel in and out and all around. I do believe he has a what do you call it? A joint in the waist, but because of his body armor, it hinders, so it's kind of pointless. ball joint at the waist for the swivel, ball joints at the thighs, nice die cut there as well, double pinless hinge knees, boot cut, forward facing pin for rocker. So fairly standard articulation all round that we have seen consistently throughout G.I. Joes. But let's put clutch to the side again real quick and we'll get back into the main event. The actual vamp itself. Now, I do like this vehicle. It is a really good vehicle, but I do believe it is slightly undersized. And what I mean by that is, though clutch fits in there nicely, bigger figures such as Roadblock and those kinds, who else shares the same sort of body as Roadblock? Gung Ho. Characters that are bigger built do not fit in this. It is such a tight fit in there. Clutch, he fits in okay, but even I sometimes struggle getting him in and out. So it is a very tight fit. So it is kind of built for female figures and smaller bodied figures, which is a bit of a shame, but hey ho, what can we do? Detail wise, it's really nice. This does come with some accessories in of itself. Some are a little bit difficult to grab, so I'll just try and grab those really quick. Comes with a fire extinguisher, a little mini fire extinguisher, which is nice. Obviously, as his twin Gatling guns, those just pop on and off on a little mushroom peg here. So it is what it is. And those have twin canisters. Now, one thing you'll see, and I'm sure you can kind of see it already in there, that I've had to do, is I've had to use blue tack just to keep these things in place. Because the way these ammo belts stretch, and I'm aware, I'm just seeing now that I've got these the wrong way round, is that the way these are, they just fling and fly all over the place. They do not sit on this plate. I wish they would have put a little tab in there just to keep these in place. Again, nitpicks. Comes with this little bedroll thing that just attaches to the hood. There is a removable little shovel that you can use. It's a nice little accessory, don't get me wrong, but it just sort of stays there. I don't tend to display it with these. And then, as you can see at the back, comes with, and I've just dropped one, 2 fuel canisters, both exactly the same. And I believe, as I said in the R-Striker review, these are the same gas fuel canisters as that. Some little details on there. Do say danger, little flame liquid, 1 and 2. The only difference is, I believe, on the bottom of these ones, there is no sort of tab for them to just sit in. They just kind of sit and rattle around in the cage now. Keep dropping that. I'd be kicked off an army base instantly for my clumsy hands. And then also comes with a little fire axe. Again, not much detail on this. I wish they would have put like a little silver stripe on there or something like that, just to add a bit of detail. But that just sits on the back here, like so. In terms of other features, you can sort of pull this window down, so that way you can have a sort of clear see-through one. But I do like the fact that on the window itself, I do apologise guys, I've not got a lot of room to work with here. You got a bottom bit that's clear, and then towards the top it has this blue sort of tinge to it. I think that's to do with sun rays, because that's like where your eyes are, and it's like to protect your eyes against UV rays or something like that. Again, car guys, let me know in the comment section below. But if you want them to have it down, it just has a little notch here that sits in between the head mirror and these lights. And all these lights are removable, by the way. So if you want to have these headlights, same on the front. Now I'm going to pull the camera back here really quick. Like the R-Striker, it comes with a little tow hitch with a rope, and that just sits in there nicely, and you can just crank it right all the way back up. You don't get it, crank it. The jokes write themselves sometimes. I remember them making a little bit of a highlight about these little hitches for tow cables at some point. I don't know why. They don't really do anything, they just hang there. Nothing attaches to them other than a little tow hitch, but there you go. Now, this is where you can see I had a bit of a unfortunate factory error with mine. And I did contact Hasbro Pulse quite a long time ago about this to see if they could just replace the part, which, Jesus Christ, trying to get Hasbro to replace just a singular part these days, unless it's a mass issue, they don't fucking bother. Is that on one of the handles, as you can see, mine was malformed. It does not grip all the way up for it to actually clasp on, so I've had to use little bits of blue tack just to keep that thing on there. I could use glue, but I didn't have glue at the time, so blue tack was the next best thing. It's the same, like I said, with those gas canisters. So it is a shame, but it is what it is. Yeah, it was just really annoying. But it serves its purpose there. I only really have clutch in the vamp anyway. Now, I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick this up. I will try. I'm going to take the gun off just to sort of allow for a bit of clearance. And then I'll try and zoom in a little bit as best as I can. Apologise for all the dust in there, guys. Like I said, this does just sort of just sit on my shelf. And I'm going back. But the dashboard has some really nice details. Has like a little pretend flashlight here that's clipped in. Your radio dashes for your music and frequencies. Presumably that's like your bass and treble levels. Then you've got like a little terrain map and computer, which is really nice. Then the driver obviously has his little speedometers and things like that in there. So nicely detailed on the inside as well. And then you've got your various glove boxes in there, all along the sides. As soon as the camera wants to focus, there we go. But yep, also plenty of room in there for the figures to sort of just slide in and sit. And the gear stick does move, by the way. Has a nice little click to it. Also, another feature, it does have a suspension similar to the R-Striker. This did come before the R-Striker, so it's nice that they were even thinking of adding these sorts of things even back then. But it is a play feature nonetheless. But what do you guys think? Were you successful in getting a vamp? Are you still looking for vamps? I know Nerdzoic, I believe, recently put out his newsletter, in the sense that he's managed to source some. So if you're in America, you might be able to score some from there if you've still got them in stock. Or are you at the mercy of Evil Bay prices and are still actively looking for them? Or were you able to get one? Or did you get multiple? Let me know in the comment section below. The next vehicle probably after this will be the Stinger, because it'll be a nice, quick and easy review. It's the exact same as this, just painted black and it has missiles. So, those are the only differences there. But as always, guys, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button, leave a comment in the comment section below, and whilst you're down there, hitting that subscribe as well as the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And as always, I will see you in the next video.